here is a trickle of what we produced in the last wet season.
Massive rice pyramids unveiled in January as payback of loans rice farmers borrowed to expand their production. The federal government claimed that rice production has increased to over 7.5 million metric tons yearly, from less than 4 million metric tons recorded in 2015, prior to the introduction of Anchor Borrowers Program. The low-interest loans had helped the farmers to more than double their average yield of rice, fighting armed herders on their way to success. And so during this year's planting season, they were more than happy to plant. None of them expected a deadly flood. Since August, more than 270 kilometers of cropland along the Benue and Niger rivers have been flooded. Every farmland within about 3 kilometers on each side of the riverbanks inundated.
You are all right. Look at it.
We stopped at the farm of 30-year-old father of 7, Umar in Opakabi, outside the town of Loko in Nasarawa State. He's one of thousands of smallholder farmers who benefited from the Anchor Borrowers Program and contributed to the rice pyramid as a member of the Rice Farmers Association. He has not only lost all the seeds planted, he has no idea how he will repay his 200,000 naira debt.
I borrowed money from the bank, and I don't know what to tell the bank. I don't even know what I and my family will eat now.
Jubrin is one of the leaders of the Farmers Cooperative Societies in Opakabi. He's owing 500,000 naira. To repay their loans, every individual in Jubrin's 25-member cooperative society is expected to contribute 1,850 kilograms bags of rice paddy for the duration of the loan. They were all hoping to complete repayment during the next harvest season. Although they have been blamed for not heeding the flood warnings, the farmers argue the warnings came after planting. More so, 46-year-old Jibrin says this flooding is uncommon.
Even last year, they told us that the water is going to be too much, overflowing. And last year, we ride machine, look at the road, even the car passing this place. Even me, we are ride machine from here down to local down to the during Hamata. So we didn't believe on that until this thing that happened to us this year. Even I told you that since I was born, only 2012 that I experienced it. If not, water never covered these villages.
Those that stay behind hope to make ends meet by fishing. And across the river from Loko in Nasarawa State to Agatu in Benue State, the story is not different. Smallholder farmers camping on riverbanks, praying that the water will recede. They are joined in this prayer by some other richer farmers. Organizing Secretary of Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, Sam Yua, is one of those. He has 19.34 hectares of rice farm on the water in Makurdi.
The rice was coming up fine. Then suddenly this deluge came. It's not been easy. I saw the rice just submerging gradually until everything is underwater. The rice seeds I use actually Faro 67. They are supposed to be flood-tolerant variety, but the tolerance is only for 2 weeks. We are talking about 8 weeks now, and definitely what is underwater can no longer be alive.
Across town, the Benue State Commissioner for Rural Development, whose investment was funded by Bank of Industry, is threatening to sue the federal government for losses he has incurred.
I'm going to court. Let the court say, Victor, you don't have a case. We cannot allow things to happen the way they happen in this nation. For once, we need to sit up. And if there are ways that we can push our authorities in this country to sit up and do what they need to do, then we need to do that.
Back on the road and more than 5 hours drive from Benue to Nasarawa State, we arrived Tunga. Farmers here do not have what it takes to sue the federal government. They can only plead.
Padashine.
Really, government did not come to our rescue. Some of these banks will come and arrest people here because we collected loan from them, and there is no way of paying them back. So we were hoping government to come to our rescue so that the government will assist us in solving some of these problems. My real farm, our real farm here, a maize farm, about 4 to 5 hectares of maize farm that has been submerged by flood.
The people here have completely lost all they have. Unfortunately, farming in Nigeria is a tedious task, and for the last 2 years, these farmers have not been having it good. They've barely survived the impact of COVID-19 on sales of their produce. They battled with herders to save their crops, only to lose it to floods. The fact is, if they do not get the help they need, not only will they fall into extreme poverty, everyone who depend on their produce for supply face scarcity and price increases. And these simply means more people will face extreme hunger across the country. From Tunga community in Nasarawa State, Ayola Kasim, Channels Television News.